Well, let's talk about 2016, guys. If someone's out there thinking about buying a home and getting a mortgage, this is the time when they need to start planning and preparing for it. Because especially if they're a self-employed person or they've got creative things on their taxes, the end of taxes is coming up, what they're going to report, they need to start planning on setting some things up. So I wanted you guys to maybe, if there's somebody out there thinking about buying a home, whether it's moving up, moving down, whether it's a first-time home buyer, what are some practical tips as the year comes to a close, some things they can start preparing to do, to set them up for a smooth pre-qualification in the new year?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. You mentioned self-employed borrowers. We've talked about it before. Self-employed people, probably some of the hardest hit sector in the industry just with all the new regulations. And, it's not like it was in years past where, we know you make a lot of income, but your tax returns don't report that.
Right.
There's a lot of write-offs and stuff that you can do on those. So if you are self-employed and you are thinking about doing something really in the next coming years, it probably makes sense to be a little bit more conscious of what those write-offs are going to be, because it's going to be very, very important to align that with what your goals are for the future. So
yeah, I think even me personally, I'm looking to refinance and use this year's income, which was better than last year's income, to help qualify for more of a loan. And hence, if you're in the same boat, you need to start getting with your CPA early. I've always been the guy that waits till October 14th, or April 14th.
Right.
To
October 14th, you're going to pay some fines.
Yeah. Well,
Two.
April 14th, do an extension till But I'm getting ready now and getting with my CPA now to get ready to get going, because I know that to be able to use 2015 income, I have to have a 2015 tax return. And what's surprising to me, and I've never seen this so much in my career, is even people who are salaried are writing off expenses. And,
Right.
And so that can
be cautious of that.
Right, that can be a big deal. So if you're looking to be careful about, I understand it's a double-edged sword. You pay less in taxes, but you don't qualify for as much. So you may want to get some counseling ahead of time to make sure that you are in the proper position as far as qualifications are concerned. The Christmas season's coming up. Everybody jacks up their credit cards
And spends too much money.
Yep. And that's going to affect your credit score. Okay, because what will happen is your credit limits, if you are hitting your credit limits on everything, that's going to affect your FICO score. They like to see the balance on your credit cards to be 50% or less of your credit limit. So, definitely use your credit card, but try to pay it off as quick as possible if you're looking to pay.
I think another thing, as far as the holiday spending goes, obviously that can affect the debt-to-income ratio, which I think is important. But I think another, proponent of that is, a lot of people today buy homes because they need a down payment amount. They need to save up a certain amount of money for down payment. And you'll see people during the holidays dip into their savings to start paying off holiday bills, and then up there went that down payment money. And it can go away fast. 3.5% for an FHA, or 5% for a conventional, or sometimes, obviously, if they're in great financial shape, they're going to have 20% or more. But that money can get eaten up really fast by some heavy holiday spending.
And it does. And we talk about, hey, if you're really serious about buying a home and you're in that position where cash isn't easy to come by, and it's one of these savings procedures that you're going through, make that your Christmas gift.
I had just a brilliant thought. here.
Yeah,
the light bulb
just came on. Go to your family, your friends, and say, "Don't buy me a Christmas gift.
Bring me down payment money."
Exactly.
gift me down payment money. But the reality is that's probably the best gift they could give them, because it's going to set them up for financial success. It's going to save them monthly money because they're going to pay less per month. It's going to give them some instant equity. There's so many things that can help with, and I think that's one of the biggest mistakes of the holiday shopping season for somebody that's thinking about buying next year, is that they spend too much. They either kill their down payment, they kill their credit, all those types of things. I think another important tip too is, a lot of people kind of do their financial housekeeping at the end of the year. My wife and I, every year in January, early January, we'll sit down and kind of do a year in review. And we're looking at, our business review, our financial house, all these different types of things. Do we need to look at, what are we doing on insurance? Do we need more insurance? Do we need less insurance? All those types of things. And putting the credit report in there is, I think, an important step too. If you're going to do like a year in review for your financial situation, Get your credits, run your credit, see what's on there. You'd be surprised at how many mistakes are on there. You'd be surprised at how stuff isn't reported correctly. I mean, I noticed one myself, and I'm not looking to to qualify for a mortgage anytime soon. But we look at our credit score, and we noticed that one of our credit cards had a very large credit limit, but it was reporting a much smaller credit limit, which was hurting my score because it said I was using way more of my available credit than I was. Right. And we had to file a couple of emails and it gets squared away. But pulling your credit report, it will also, if you're planning on buying, give you an idea of the things you need to do. Is there an old collection still on there? Is something reported wrong? And you can work on fixing that in the new year so that you can get qualified, either get qualified or get a better rate and qualify.
Absolutely. I mean, your
credit. What about disputes, David? I mean, people had disputed. Go back and pull your credit report. You disputed something. That's great, but you got to settle that dispute.
You got to see it through to fruition.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Just because you dispute it doesn't mean it's resolved.
And the other thing, and not to get too complicated here, but you mentioned some collections. There's actually different schools of thought on that, and a lot of times, actually, in the very short term, it makes a lot of sense to not to do anything with that collection. A lot of people that pay off those collections,
because it can bring it back up to the top.
It's gonna, exactly. It's gonna bring your credit score down.
I think that so the important thought is if you're someone who's just looking at your credit to keep an update, then maybe go through that process. If you're someone who's looking to buy a home early in the new year, talk to Waterstone Mortgage, talk to the Diaz duo, and decide if that's a path that you want to go yet, or if they shouldn't touch a dispute.
Right, and really, if you're thinking about doing something in 2016, there's no harm really in hey, let's take a look at it now, and
right.
Even if it's not going to be for 6 months, we can analyze those things and really get you in a better position.
Yeah, it's preparation really. It's preparing them for the success of qualifying. I think another thing, and again, I don't think you can ever get approved too early today, because you never know when the right house is going to hit. We have people all the time say, "Oh, I'm not going to buy for 3 or 4 months. I just want to go out looking this weekend." Right? I've heard, and I'm sure you guys have heard that too. I'm not ready to buy for a few months. They don't want a sales pitch, which I get. And then they go out and find the dream house that they love. The wife is falling over herself for the house. Right? It is the one. It is the house. And they start to go through the process of getting approved. It takes a few days. They got a detail here, detail there, and then the house is gone. And so, if you're thinking it's 6 months, start the conversation with your lender now. Don't wait. Don't wait because the right home.
Yeah, it's not going to cost you anything.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not really going to cost you anything. And one of the things that we see mostly, and that is frustration in our side of the business, that it always falls back. In the real estate business, it's always the mortgage company's fault. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, it's the realtor's fault. It's always our fault, right?
But the frustration is that we're asked for things, and this process just trickles in, and we don't get everything we need, and it just delays the process. And if it delays the process, then it delays the closing, and then you get the seller that's wondering what the heck's going on, and blah blah blah. And, then everybody's got their eyebrows raised. Well, why did you get it quicker? Well, I can't go there. They got to help me.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got to get the information.
Right. Yeah.
We're